Something I've always was interested in since I was a kid was art. I loved drawing and making things. My name is Natalie Godinez and I'm an artist and educator. So I grew up in Tijuana, which is the border with San Diego. And I lived there till I graduated high school and everything. I lived there till I was 18. And then I moved literally right across the border into San Isidro and I attended community college. And then I transferred to San Diego State University, studied something called applied design. I got to do different types of craft mediums like fibers, which was what I was most interested in. I also did ceramics, woodworking, and jewelry making. I took some printmaking classes and that was something that I really liked. I ended up doing a lot of printmaking and textiles. The last 2 years I was in college, I worked at a children's museum in San Diego called the New Children's Museum, where I started teaching. That was one of the places where I learned a lot more about what other artists do, what art can be. That was the foundation of me wanting to be an educator or work in education. After college, I moved to the Bay Area. I lived in Oakland, teaching literacy to girls. On the side, I was making jewelry and doing craft shows and things like that to sell jewelry because I wanted to still have a creative outlet. Living in the Bay Area, I was around a lot of punk community. That really informed the way I was working and just being more open to speaking about political issues in my work, which was not something that I was doing before when I was in college. A lot of my work is informed by me growing up on the border and being somebody who is from the borderlands and lives in a lot of dual identities. AMBOS project stands for Art Made Between Opposite Sides, and it's a project based around the US-Mexico border, founded in 2016 by artist Tania Eguiniga. She founded it because of her experience crossing the border every day to go to school. She's actually the oldest sister of one of my closest friends from high school. So when I was moving to LA, there was an opportunity to be part of the AMBOS project and travel along the border to do documentation and to expand a project that Tania had started, which was called the Border Kipu. We talked to a lot of people crossing the border, a lot of commuters, and then asked them to tie a knot. All of the knots got put together and it was a big project to document the people crossing. The first year that I was part of it, we traveled from Tijuana to Juarez. And then in 2018, we traveled the rest of the border, which was from El Paso to Brownsville. There was a photographer, Gina Klein, who was with us doing photography, and we were doing video and doing interviews. We stopped at different places, met with different artists, did a lot of performance art and interventions, which were not pre-planned. And all the projects have kind of come up organically. It hasn't been a pre-planned thing, but now, that's something that's going to change. I am part of the board and one of the artists who's involved. We were invited to be part of the Hammer Biennial. We created an installation where over 230 people participated, which included ceramic hands that people did across workshops in Tijuana, San Diego, and in LA. We also did an audio recording of people's migration stories around objects and these amulets for protection that were inspired by my history with my dad always having these scapularios, which are the religious Catholic saints. So that was a big collaboration we did, and we just did a series of workshops in Idaho, which is the first time we've ever worked outside the border. Working with migrant communities there expanded the way that we were thinking about how we can continue to do work beyond being at the physical border. Borders exist everywhere. Borders at the micro level, borders within ourselves. We are planning for the future and thinking about other things that we can do besides the work that has already been done. Self-Help Graphics and Art is a community-based arts organization that's been in the Boyle Heights / East LA community for 50 years. I originally got involved at Self-Help in 2019, hired as a community engagement coordinator, working with the youth committee, as well as also working with advocacy work around housing justice and youth development. I became the community engagement and youth programs manager and founded the Youth Artivism internship, which directly works with Isailis, a coalition that we're part of that does work around housing justice. Youth ages 18 to 24 develop a project each year around housing justice that also uses art. In order to create systemic change, I think we need to use imagination, and part of that is art. In activism spaces, art can play different roles, and some of them can be abstract and some of them can be really obvious, like creating a poster for a rally. Visual elements can attract people to be part of movement and be part of different activism spaces. A lot of times it's a healing element where people have an outlet to come and be together and make art, just safe spaces and containers for people to come create together and have conversations about things that they want to change. Be able to be creative like when they were kids, which is something that we don't often have access to. We forget how art has always been part of activism spaces and part of organizing spaces. It's just so interwoven that it's just part of it. Currently, I am a freelance artist, also a freelance educator, so open for different workshops and doing other opportunities. I decided to transition out of my position at Self-Help Graphics so that I could focus on this. I'm still involved at Self-Help Graphics as an artist, but not as a staff person. I wanted to focus a lot of the energy that I had been focusing for most of my career on the community, on myself, and my own art practice so that I can grow, build a stronger portfolio, be in more art exhibitions, apply to grants, residencies, and have time to focus on my family and being a parent. I think thinking about the ways that I want to raise my daughter and have her be able to be open to trying new things and to being what she wants to be really made me reflect on okay, well, I've always just wanted to be a full-time artist, why haven't I done it? And even though it's really scary, I think becoming a mom was something that really informed wanting me to really pursue a career change and just be I'm gonna be a full-time artist. That's my current career path, just trying to make more work. And part of that was also getting my own art studio in the last year, so I was working towards this transition for a while. So that's where I am in my art studio.